Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see, the name of this video, it's BPD Awareness Month. Some of you might not have a clue what PPD is. It's technically a mental disorder. Yeah, it's a serious mental illness. And for a lot of you, you guys actually don't know that I suffer from BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. I actually saw my sister post this on Facebook, and I totally forgot that May was BPD Awareness Month. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder about 3 years ago. I pulled up the picture that somebody had that my sister like reposted, shared, and then I shared it, and then I saved it. So it says here that it creates significant emotional instability. It's really hard to diagnose somebody with it, because it can be like depression. The symptoms are similar, like depression, or bipolar disorder. Most of the times you get it from your mom. So if you know your mom has it, there's a possibility that you could have it. And a lot of people were saying that it only comes out when there's a trigger. Like, something like triggers it and then it comes out. Sorry that my face is really red. I was just outside. But yeah. So I'm just going to read out some things that I see on this picture. I will post this on my Instagram. If you guys don't know, my Instagram is Jennifer Askew. ASKEW. Jennifer is then Jennifer's Life, but it's Jennifer Askew 24. So look me up on Instagram. I will be posting this on Instagram. Yeah, but so the characteristics of it are very intense emotions. Yes, it's like probably being like a pregnant woman and on your period, like your worst period day at one time. Your emotion, for me personally, I've never been pregnant, but I've seen pregnant women who have talked about it, and they can get pretty angry sometimes. Not saying all pregnant women are like that. Feeling of worthlessness and being fundamentally flawed, intensely disordered self-image, self-harming acts, and stormy interpersonal relationships. Yeah. I did not think that I was that attractive for a while. I am a bigger girl. Like, I weigh, 266, 267? I actually think it's 265 now. I lost a few pounds. I was not always as big. Growing up, I was a pretty, skinny child, normal. But then when I actually ended up failing 3rd grade, and that just, I started gaining weight then. And I just kept gaining weight. When I was in high school, I was I think my highest was 220 in high school. But I loved the way I looked. I had no problem with it. I have big hips, yes. I can't get rid of those. My mom and my grandmother and my sister have big hips. Just gonna happen. But hey, at least they're good for giving birth, But yeah, so my dad actually left when my parents divorced when I was about 6, and my dad walked out completely when I was about 13, 14 years old, and my mom thinks that that's what triggered it. Because if you listen to the other symptoms, which says extreme fear of abandonment, intense and rapid mood swings, impulsive and risky behavior, reoccurring suicidal behavior, strong and often explosive anger, severe dissociative symptoms like losing touch of reality, and awareness of destruction behavior but feeling unable to control it. I do have a fear of abandonment. Sorry, I'm trying not to get too upset talking about this. When my dad left, it hurt. It seriously hurt. I was very close to my dad. I was definitely a daddy's girl. I was not a mommy's girl in any way, shape, form. And when he left, it was very hard. I didn't actually know that he left. It was just the point of we saw him for about 2 weeks because we were in year-round school in middle school, and my siblings were in elementary school at the time. And it hurt, man. It hurt. Like, he stopped calling, and when it was his weekend, he didn't pick us up. And then he stopped messaging my brother on, like, Yahoo Messenger, so you can tell how long this was. I'm 25 now, so this is about 12 years ago. About 12 years ago. Yeah, it was hard, guys. Me and my mom just never had that type of relationship, to be honest. We were just never that close, ever. And it just sucks that I had to wait 10 more years to find out that I had it. Like, I was diagnosed with it because we had a party. I ended up getting way too drunk. Some things happened, and I wanted to hurt myself. I had a knife in the bathroom, and when my ex came back, yeah, I told him I couldn't do it anymore. So I couldn't do it. And I called. The police came back, and they took me to the hospital. Or actually, it's a Wakebrook. I was there for about almost 5 days. The thing about Wakebrook is that it's mainly for people that have like drug addiction or, addicted to alcohol. It was not for people that had suicidal thoughts. And I didn't find out I had it till I got out of that place, because then I had to go back and see my therapist again in order to get out. And the guy who was not my therapist actually told me, because he was doing like a drug test, urine test, just to make sure I wasn't on anything. And that's when I found out about it. And he explained it as if, like, because his wife, I don't remember the guy's name, and of course I wouldn't say his name, like, on, the internet. But the way he explained it to me is that his wife has it. And he said it can be tough at times. He said it's the hardest thing to be in a relationship with. Because that person, even though that person knows that you love them, it can still affect them, It can seriously affect them. And not many people actually know I have BPD. The people I work with do not know. It's not because I haven't wanted to tell them. It's just I have to be very comfortable with people in order to tell them, because people can be judgmental about it. They hear disorder and they're like, oh crap, should we be near her? Should we even talk to her? And some people don't believe in it. Like, I had a family member who doesn't understand why I could have suicidal thoughts, why I would want to hurt myself. Like, I have almost, when I was with my ex, we got in such a bad fight that I did not care, and I had went into the kitchen and tried opening a bottle of pills, but he grabbed them before I could. I've done things where I've thought about driving off the side of the road, and this is when I was dating my first ex. It wasn't because we argued. Sometimes we would have arguments, and it sucks because the guy who I dated first, he wasn't a bad guy. I had no clue I had this, and I am the one that messed up that relationship, 100%, and I know that. We're still friends now, we talk here and there, but when I found it out, I told him, and I apologized for that. There is no medication you can really take for it. Like, they can give you medication, but medication doesn't really do anything. They say, like, there's certain roots that you could take, like valerian root. There's, like, fish oil you can take. But it's just something in the brain that is just not right. Yeah. And on here, it actually says 4.5 million people in the U.S. experience BPD. And that's a lot of people. And you're talking about 4.5 million people. It's like, how is it not a known thing? Like, how do people not know this? I didn't know anything about it. And it says about 1 to 2% of the total U.S. population. So yeah, it was hard, man. It was like when I got in arguments with both my exes, pretty much like the gentleman told me, and this is the way I explain it to people, that when I get in an argument, even if it's not my fault, like if the guy I'm with had did something and I got mad at him for it, I would pretty much I would break up with him. I try to leave him. I would tell him that I don't, didn't want to be with him, blah, blah, blah. And of course, they would, want to stay with me because they loved me. But honestly, that's what messed up my first relationship, because the love that he had, he told me that it started going away because I broke up with him so many times. And I can completely understand that. If someone keeps breaking up with you and you get back together, you're not going to know when that person's going to break up with you the next time. So, of course, you're going to lose feelings with that person. But yeah, I mean, it was rough, man. Like, even in my second relationship, it was the same way. And I thought, oh, this is going to be different. I'm not going to do that. No. My current relationship, the first year was rough. It was like that, to be honest. I suffer from depression also. And it took a lot. Like, honestly, I had to really look myself in the mirror and be like, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep breaking up with this amazing guy who loves me, who is there for me. Like, honestly, this has been the best relationship I've ever had. He has a job, he helps pay bills, he's supportive, he loves me. Not saying that the other guys didn't, it's just, it's different. Yeah, we ended up having an incident and I threw a glass of like pasta sauce on the floor, and he didn't talk to me for I think almost a week. And that's what really hit me, that like even if we didn't stay together, I thought to myself, I don't want to be that type of person anymore. I do not want to be this person who gets angry. Who gets angry at someone who loves me so much. Honestly, Jared, I believe he's the one. I mean, of course, when you're in a relationship, you think that person's the one, but I honestly think that he is truly the one for me. Of course, I thought that with my first and my second ex, but like, being with someone who doesn't suffer from depression or who has had a good life, it's nice. I've dated someone who had kind of a rough life, and his life's not perfect still. I don't know about the other guy I dated. And I think it is that when you have depression and this, of course I didn't know it at the time, that you shouldn't be with someone else who suffers it also. That's just my personal feelings about it. I mean, I don't know who's out there who has depression and is with someone else who has depression. I can say being with someone who has depression, it just not work out, because then you might feel shitty and that person doesn't, and then one day he might feel shitty and you don't, but then it starts to make you feel like crap, because then you're like, well, why is he upset today? Is it my fault? Did I do anything to him? But yeah, I mean, honestly, I've told family members that the only way to truly get over my depression, or not really get over it, but to move on past it, was for me to just a wake-up call, for me to sit there and be like, look, I'm done. I'm not gonna let this bother me anymore. I have a nice apartment, I have an okay car, I have a great job, I have a great relationship with my boyfriend, and his family, likes me. that's what it was. Like, I just woke up one day and I'm like, I can't do this. I am not gonna ruin my life and lose the person who I think and truly believe is the one for me and mess that up. Yeah, that's what, I mean, I still have days where I feel like crap, but the whole BPD thing, I feel like I've been able to control. I have not broken up with my current boyfriend in a very long time. It's been at least like 6 months. And I know that might not seem that long, but for someone who has BPD, that's like a goal. You know, like we've gotten in arguments, but the arguments have not been that severe. Like there's been yelling, because I mean, of course, you know, who doesn't yell in an argument? But yeah, just, yeah, I don't know. It can be hard. I'm just hoping that whoever watches this, if you have it, or you know someone who has it, or you suffer from depression or suicidal thoughts, that it honestly does get better. I had to think positive. I stopped listening to music that was depressing. Like I listened to Falling in Revenge, and that guy, if you guys have heard, you know he talks about some depressing stuff. I stopped listening to that. I couldn't listen to it anymore. I only listen to it when I'm like angry, but I stopped listening to it because I realized me listening to depressing music was just making me more depressed. But pretty much for me to like overcome all of that and to be happy, I had to pretty much push people out of my life that were not supporting me, who were not there for me, who were just liars and, you know, just not good in my life. That's honestly the first step I did. I stopped talking to friends who just were bad influences or just had like crappy lives and were like bringing their drama towards me. And I don't want to say I stopped talking to certain family members, but I don't know. I stopped talking to people that were not there for me. And I started thinking positive. And I know that can be hard, like having depression and being a teenager, like I was always in a crappy mood. Like when I saw my ex, I was then happy, you know? But then when I wasn't with him, I was sad. And then when we broke up, of course I was sad, you know? And then I moved on to my second ex, and that relationship was just rough. It was not a very good relationship. And I'm sort of glad I had that relationship, and of course I'm not. Because that relationship made me realize, hey, there's something wrong with me and needed to get it fixed. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that I've gotten better. I think positive. I don't really let things bring me down. If I get upset, I try to breathe through it. And sometimes it can be difficult. If I get too stressed, I will cry. And it just happens. It's just what my body does. So I kind of wanted to go over what causes it too on here. It says family history of mental illness. Well, both my parents suffer from depression, and my mom actually has this. She didn't find out till like years after I found out. Childhood trauma, victim or witness of violence or abuse. Again, I witnessed my dad abusing my mom for like, I don't even know how long. I don't have a neglected environment. And then brain abnormalities and other unknown risk. I don't feel like I was neglected. I think it was just the relationship with my mom just didn't really help. the way that it's treated, it says medication helps mood swings and but it's not treated. It says the only thing is psychotherapy. It's the only proven method, and then long-term intensive therapy. Yeah. So, yeah. It's a 7 out of 10 people with BPD attempt suicide. 1 out of 10 people with BPD complete suicide. It says 50 to 80% take part in the risky behaviors such as drug abuse or self-mutilation. Yeah, that's about it, is it? Honestly, if you think you might have it, I would get help. If you feel like any of those side effects, or not side effects, but any of those symptoms fit you, definitely talk to your doctor about it. It's very hard because, like, for my doctor, she didn't believe I had it. She's like, "Are you sure you have this?" Because it's very hard. She said it was very difficult to say who has it and who doesn't. But, I mean, yeah, it just, I don't know. Like, there's a picture of a person, like, you know, a little, like, silhouette of a head, and it says, "I hate you. Don't leave me." That fits, man. It really does. Like, you get in arguments and you say you hate the person, but then when they try to leave, you don't want them to leave because you don't want to be lonely. I think for me, that completely points it out for me, to be honest. I still have days that I feel like crap, and I have days that I feel fine. I'm not saying that it's gonna completely go away, because it doesn't. It doesn't completely go away. Like, you can never get rid of this. But honestly, if I could go back and like tell myself when I was like 14 years old, "Hey, this is what you're suffering from," I wish I could. I'm not saying that my life is perfect, because it's not. And honestly, just, I can say it can get better, and that's my opinion, because I've been able to make it better. But yeah, just, I don't know, for me, I just started thinking happy, and I started enjoying life. I didn't think about bad things. I didn't think about who's there for me and who's not. I just focus on the people that are there for me. Like, honestly, I don't have a relationship with my mom right now. We have not talked in about 2 months. We talked like a week or two before my birthday, which was March 13th. We haven't talked since. And honestly, I'm okay with that. And I know that sounds weird, but my mom has had some drama in her life, and I'm not saying that she pushed it on me, but I think it's just best to, not really talk. Yeah. But yeah, if hopefully this helps somebody who has depression or BPD or suicidal thoughts, anything. I'm hoping that this at least helps one person. Because this is like a very raw video right now. Like, I've had a few moments where I had to stop and like kind of bring it back, because like right now I'm kind of holding it back, because I want to cry right now, but I don't want to be that raw yet. But yeah, I'm really hoping that this video helps somebody out there, at least one person. Yeah, I witnessed abuse. I was an abuser. My last ex, we get in fights and I would hit him, and I think for him, he was honestly the one who brought it out so much. And like, having that thing happen with my current boyfriend where I threw the jar on the floor, it scared him, and it scared me too. Like, because we had had such a good relationship. And yeah, we argue, you know, people argue. I mean, we haven't argued in a while, and it's so good. And I think that's why I'm so happy, because I realize I'm now in a relationship where I don't have to worry about him, you know, worrying about me, you know, worrying about who I'm talking to, what I'm doing, you know, if I'm really going to work, you know, things like that. Because it's like, I haven't cheated on this guy. I did cheat on my last ex, to be completely honest. I did. And when you cheat, it definitely affects your relationship. Like, I know people say you can get past it. Some people can, you know, and it does take time. But, and I'm not saying that, you know, I shouldn't, that, oh yeah, you know, shouldn't have done it. I do believe that I shouldn't have done it. But yeah, I think he was one of the reasons why, like, he definitely brought out the worst side in me. Like, I told people, he brought out, like, my twin that I never seen before. Like, even friends who knew me in high school, they saw me and they didn't know who I was when I was dating this guy. Like, I had a girl that I was talking to, and she knew me since 9th grade, and she told me, she was like, I don't know who you are. You know, I didn't know who you were at that party. Like, that was not you. Not you at all. Like, even my sister saw it. And I'm not going to get into details of what happened. But yeah, like, I I almost had a bunch of more friends there. Only a couple of people had saw it. And it still bothers me to this day. Like, it'll be 3 years in, like, July. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm hoping somebody sees us and sees that life does get better. It does take some time, don't get me wrong. Like, life is not just gonna magically, tomorrow is not gonna be like, you know, nice and sunny, bird singing, your life's all happy. No, it takes a lot of time. It's just to realize who you want in your life and who you don't, and what you need to do to change things. I think that's definitely it. I stay away from negative things. I don't really drink, because when I get drunk, I don't know what happens. I stopped smoking because I feel like that was a bad influence on me. Um, I don't do any type of drugs, never have. But yeah, definitely keep people away that I don't want to talk to, that I feel like are negative influences on my life. Only keep positive people in my life. People that I know that if I needed something, they would help me out. For sure. But yeah. I don't know how to end this video. I really don't. But yeah. If you think somebody needs to see this, please let them know. Questions, comments in the comment section, you know, I'll answer them. But yeah. Hope you guys, learned a little bit more about borderline personality disorder, and of course you learned more about me, and I thought that'd be good since I have this channel. So